Good Tuesday, 3 o'clock sharp, and welcome to the Father's Chair, where fathers take their seat to feel, to lead, to speak, and grab the narrative of their truth and put it in their own hands. My name is Fumani N. Shilubana. I'm a father of 3 kids, and I am sure of it. And welcome to this solo commentary that we're gonna call it Deconstruct to Construct. Why deconstruct to construct? This is where we'll take real issues where fathers face, and we're gonna break them down. We're gonna tear them apart. We're gonna investigate them. We're gonna put scrutiny in them, and then we construct them better and reshape them so that we can go to the future, because that's what this whole point of deconstruct mean, is there's no point for us to want to go into the future if we don't know where we are from. There's no point for us to want to go into the next step if we don't know where or what happened to us, what traumas do we carry, what kind of people we are, who are we from. It's very important that we know our history. It's very important that I'm a very big advocate that as Africans, as South Africans, we need to know our history. Now, there's a very big effort, of course, where our history is trying to be denied. We're like, no, forget the past. It happened 30 years ago. Let's move on. Nah, there's no moving on before we really take a deep dive in understanding who we are and where we're from and whom we are and whose we are. Because that's very important, because without understanding that, what is that you want to construct? Because you need to deconstruct that. You need to understand what it is to be able to move on, to be able to build something better. Because, simple idea, or rather, example, we carry diseases that we don't know that we have simply because our forebears had them. If we knew what kind of diseases that they had, what kind of issues that they had, what kind of traumas that they went through, it's not easy for us to navigate the world, So when we go and do our lineage, whatever, because I did mine till 15th generation, but I can tell you for the four back, I kind of have an idea what kind of people they were, and that made me understand certain things a bit better. Not perfect, but a bit better. So that's very important for us to know. Hence, we need to deconstruct our past so we can construct our future, that it becomes beautiful. So in this particular episode, or rather this particular series, because this will be a series where there are times where, of course, I'll be having episodes with people like the last 2 episodes. You saw I had two guests, but there will be episodes like this where it will be a special solo commentary, Deconstruct to Construct episode, where I deal with certain subjects that I feel they are close to my heart, and if I sit with a guest, sometimes it becomes an interview. We need to hear them more than I share my view, because I also want to shape this. It's my responsibility. So in this particular series, we'll be dealing with forefathers, forefathers that we have in South Africa. Others argue that there's 5, but I want to deal with the 4. The first one is the absent father. The second one is the present but emotionally distant father. And then the third one is the denied father. That one, it will be a very hot episode when you get to it. It will be tight. It will be very controversial. It will be very uncomfortable when you get to that particular episode, because I believe fatherlessness is a responsibility that's both carried by men and women. Anyway, the next father, it is the present fathers, people like us, present father who are both involved and can a little bit, So those are the 4 type of fathers that we'll be dealing with. That will be discussing on this. Maybe we'll deal with the 5th one. I don't know. As the series goes, we'll see how it turns out and what is the mood. And as you comment and share and view this video, you'll give us a view, Corey. What do you think? Which the father it is, that abusive father? But anyway, for this episode, I want us to deal with the absent father. Disclaimer: I'm one person who is very stats. It's a thing that I use. I won't lie to you. I use stats, but it will be very important that I say we need to be very careful on how we use stats. We need to be very careful on how we come to an action point using stats. Here's an example. I'll give you one example, or maybe a few. Stats in SA, we've seen that there are bad faith players when it comes to stats. Our national average of unemployment sits at 37%, very high, right? But if you take a deep dive into those stats, it gives us a false sense of comfort where we're thinking, oh no, it is the country that is in poverty, that is unemployed. We are sitting, let me check this. We are sitting as a nation, you see, dark, we are over 30, and then the others that are sitting less than 20, whites are even way low because they're sitting at 30, at 8%, Let me check this. There is in 2024, unemployment rate, right now, black unemployment rate remains at 37%, right? Right now. Now, as the country, our average as a country, it says, Guri, the country is sitting at over 30%, 39% unemployment rate nationally. Now, here's where stats are problematic. Black Africans, unemployment rate, fourth quarter of 2024. Now, this is like last year, right? On the last quarter. We're sitting between 35.8 to 37%, right? Coloreds, they're sitting at 23.3%, 22.3%. So it's not 20, less than 20 for all of them. That's where it gets tricky or very uncomfortable to face. Indian and Asians, they're sitting at 11.9%, right? Whites, it's sitting at 7.7 to 8.6%. National average, it is 30 something, 32, 39, 32.9 and so. This is per last year's, last quarter of last year. You see where stats are a problem. You see where stats are not realistic. We all think, we are all comfortable at 30%. No, we're not. People are sitting at 8% unemployment rate. They're sitting at 8% unemployment rate. So that's one of the things that I have an issue about stats, right? My high school teacher, principal, Mr. Potgieter, once gave us a very good example about stats. He said, in our high school, my class were 35, if not 36. Fumani, Unapong. We're sitting at 35. We're sitting at 35 in the class, right? And that 35, he said, last year we had 17 matriculants. They all passed. There was a school in town that had over 200 students in matric, and one failed, or they got like 98% pass, something like that. And he asked which one between the two is better. Of course, from stats point of view, you see 100%, you think that's better. And those ones that were 200, that they've obtained 98%, you're thinking they're not as good because we're only seeing stats. When you zoom in, there are 17 here, there are 200 here. They did better. You see where stats are an issue. It's the same with fatherlessness. It says, Guri, as a nation, we're sitting in over 35.6%. In South Africa, only 35.6% of children live with their biological fathers. This means most children grow up without dad. You see, it clumped all of us together. Now, here's the problem. Black African families, 30 to 40% of fathers are actively involved. Chief, 60% is not involved. Do you know what is 60%? No one wants to pass with 40%, 30% in their lives. We have even racists who are making jokes about the 30% pass. Now this does not data. It's data that is from Human Science Research Council. So it's backed up data. Coloreds or mixed race families, 40 to 50% are involved, fathers, right? Whites, 70 to 80% are involved. Indian and Asians, 60 to 70% are involved. Yo, we are the problem. We are the problem in terms of these numbers. We are creating the national average to be that high. When you, those who did math know this, that if you can get 100%, 500% and get 3 zeros, these zeros are going to be a problem. Even that 1 0 is going to be a problem when you do the average. You see what I'm saying? It's going to pull back those 100%. So we need to be realistic, Corey. We should not be comfortable. I'm saying this that we know what is it that we are deconstructing. But we know that what we are deconstructing. We need to be aware that in stats-wise, we are the one that creating a thing that makes it look like there are no fathers. But there's only no fathers in our communities. That's where the critical matter is. That's where the focus is. These ones, let's not focus on that. They are 80% involved. Yes, we'll touch on what happened, why we have such a disparity, because these ones that are 80% involved, their policies created some of these things. Right. So let's not be comfortable with stats and be realistic. There are key factors. There are key factors on why this happened. You know, a black family was intentionally disrupted. That's a fact. Remember, we need to know what is that about deconstructing so that we can construct. A black family was intentionally disrupted. The legacy of apartheid, migration labor system disrupted black families. Now, we've got poverty, unemployment that is over 30% nationally. Again, let's remember, we are the problem. Nationally, that doesn't mean it's anything. It's us. So, cultural shift, the urbanizing. Zuku Fuman. Zuku na Fuman. Metan Bor. Anyway, sometimes you need to be a bit harsh on them. You can't let them just, So it will make no sense. It makes no sense where we say we want to construct something and we don't understand where we're from. That's why I'm giving context. Nothing. That's why I'm trying to give context about all these things. God, yes, we have issues. Yes, there is fatherlessness. Yes, we have to take responsibility. We have to bear the most responsibility in fixing this. We can't always say sharp. We can't always say put a blame on outside factors. They are there. They happened. We learned from them. We know that primeval evil Fatherhood, they did this intentionally. We know that our families was broken apart intentionally, which created a snowball effect till today where we've got a mess. We know that. If you don't know that, please know that now. Go research such things. Go find out about such things or what happened and how did they intentionally break family. You know what I'm saying? Because that breaking of family, taking our land, taking everything, created a perpetual intergenerational poverty while it's created wealth on their side. Because remember, some of these things, the involvement, I can say it with me. Dog, I go fetch my daughter from school. I take her to school. I pick her from school. Most of the time I work from home. I go out. Sometimes when I go work, I go with my kids. You see, it creates a position of involvement. That's crazy because I work for me. I literally have my own time. Yes, there are times when I work for other people. I work with other people. But in 90% of the time, I'm in charge of of my time in whatever I do. So because of that, I go with I was shooting an ad the other day. I cast my kids. So for them, they were there playing, which I'm going to put on my socials today. We are playing, we are shooting them, and then they are playing on the jumping castles, going up and down. That is part of involvement. So my point is that poverty also creates uninvolvement. It also creates absent fathers. Of course, we're going to touch this when we talk about fathers that are present but not involved, where you find a father who's working who leaves Haman's Kral at like 4 o'clock in the morning. He takes a bus at 4 o'clock to be in Mabopani at 5. To get a train from Mabopani to come to Bosman. From Bosman, they need to get a train to come to work in Joburg. And in the evening, same story. By 6 o'clock, they are in Pretoria. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, Mabopani, get a bus to Hammanskraal. What time does that person see their children? You see, so these are some of the things that we're going to discuss. That creates absent fathers. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we should take it and make it our responsibility to be there for our kids. Because if we're not there for our children, here's what it creates. Children without fathers are more prone to low self-esteem, depression, risky sexual behavior, more kids, teenage pregnancy. Now we've got young women who end up not going to school because they have to take off this. Then we are depriving them of development, and poverty becomes a thing. Antisocial traits. This what comes up from fatherlessness. Father's absence contributes to child abuse, neglect, poor academic performance. Identity. That's what fatherlessness creates. Social pressures. Fathers only become financial providers, leave many feeling unworthy and or incapable of being able to be involved. You see what I'm saying? So there are many things that are a contributor to fatherlessness. But we cannot sit here and say, because I'm not involved, therefore it's because of all these things that has happened. We need to know them so we can deconstruct them. When we deconstruct it, we're able to construct something that is more futuristic and more worthy of living for. Because guys, there's nothing more worthier, more beautiful, more joyful, more, I don't even have what, but having your own kesonanzika, guys, make sure that these are your people. I enjoy that. One of the reasons why I don't want many kids is because I'm an involved father. I want to be there for my children. I want to be there I remember when the mother of my kid, first time when she went to hospital to go do the scan thing, and she went with her twin sister and I was not there. I was upset because I'm like, what are you doing? I want to be there every step of the way. So, all my kids, I was there when they were born. I was in the theater. Well, with William, they took me out, but I was outside the door. When they came out with him, I literally walked with a nurse, because I was having that paranoia because they will switch my child. But my point is, absent fatherhood, it costs a lot of things. Now, these are some of the things that absent fatherhood in South Africa creates, emotional disconnection, conflict avoidance. How do you then able to solve things? Look at us in SA right now. We are terrible in solving things. We are more inclined. This is very painful for me. We are more inclined to forgive people who did us bad. The white regime. We are more inclined to forgive white people than to forgive our black people. It's conflict avoidance. Because if you have conflict, you have conflict with these people, end up solving it. You know what I'm saying? So we are poor in communication. With everything. Our communication is not great. Which goes to school. Anyway, my goodness, suicide rates, among the youth, it's up because of lack of fathers. You know what I'm saying? Fathers' absence also leads to dysfunctional family system, poor self-worth, and you know what I'm saying? So all these things, when you look at them one by one, why wouldn't you want to fix them? Why wouldn't you want to be in a position where you don't want, most of us, 70% of us grew up without fathers. Why do you want to do, and let's be frank here, why do you then want to come and create a child and you're not there for this child or these children? Why do you want to create them? Because if you know that you won't be adequate, don't have children. Don't say, no, God will provide. Provide what? You are there as a father. This is a frank talk, Majida. This is a frank talk. This is about us now. You know what I'm saying? We need to, as much as we need to own our narrative, gents, we need to be truthful and be responsible and take charge of our shortcomings. Number two, why would you, if you know what you didn't like about not having a father, you know what you missed. I spoke to a friend, one of the episodes that's going to come out soon, Mr. Elijah. I spoke about Kuri. He didn't have a father, for example. And I'm sure a lot of us heard of such stories where you didn't have a father and then other kids are talking about their fathers. Oh my God, I'm sure it's painful. I can't relate to that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure it's painful. I'm sure it's very painful. I know for a fact that, and I didn't understand this for a very long time until Stem Mabasa made me understand. Yo, Fana, my brother, so he made me understand this because I didn't understand why people felt, well, I'm overconfident, I'm boastful, I'm arrogant. Until it's like, yo, the problem is you grew up with both parents. That's your problem. A lot of us didn't grow up, so you are in a space where you are fighting with people who are not, who don't have self-worth, low self-esteem, and it's not a fight, but it's like conflict. And you understand, but why are we here? So why would we then want to create a child and let them go through that? So it's two things for me. Either don't make these children, or make them and change what you know you didn't like. You didn't enjoy that. Then make kids and change it. Because we'll have to avoid all these things where children grow up without fathers, are prone to, like it says, I did say, depression, risky sexual behaviors, teenage pregnancy and antisocial whatever, social traits, HIV and AIDS, like sicknesses. Those are some of the things. Now, here's one that's crazy for me. Because, gents, we need to know what is that we're deconstructing so we can construct better. We need to be frank about it. Father's absence is like a social disease. I agree with that, And these are factual research. I'm not blowing things out of my mouth as an opinion. No. It weakens the family. Okay. It weakens the family and removes a role model and deepens societal dysfunction. Here are some alarming data, guys, right? 63% of suicides are from fatherless homes. 63%. 70% of children are in institutions because of lack of fathers. People are in institutions, jails. These are some of the institutions that I can give right now. Right? Mental health institutions. You know what I'm saying? 80% of rapists now. We always talk about, we have rape culture, rape issue in the SA. This is a thing that we talk about, which my belief of anyone who's a rapist, I think you are sick. Clearly, it says fatherlessness is like a social disease. So we've passed that disease to our kids and they become rapists. 80% of rapists grew up in fatherless households. 80%, my goodness. 85% of behavioral problems are linked to absent fathers. 90% of homeless children and 71% of school dropouts have absent fathers. Now, I can touch on all of these things, but I'm going to touch on school dropouts. School, no education, no literacy, no innovation, nothing contributes to what? Poverty. Cycle. It perpetuates, right? The rape one, I don't have to touch even more on it, Buffett. But I don't even touch on that, Afid. We know what it's doing. It's causing havoc in our communities. So are you telling me, Jitas, you don't want to deconstruct this? Afid, are you telling me that you don't want to find yourself in a space where we deconstruct all this mess? So are you saying to me, this is the society that you guys want to continue to represent you as a father, as a person who's given such a beautiful responsibility of leading your family, providing for your family, protecting your family, your community, of being the one that makes sure that when things are not in order, you are the one that they look up to. Because let's face it, we, in terms of gender, we are the stronger gender. Therefore, we've got more responsibility. So we can't continue with this irresponsibility of making children, and we say we grew up without fathers and continue doing the same thing. We can't continue with this behavior of saying, oh no, that's how I grew up. I don't know the love of a father, therefore why must... No, Wafid. I put a couple of scenarios up. I put a couple of pointers out. We need to do better. Yes, I don't all full blame on us as a society. As Budak, I'll be very honest. I'll be harsh, but at the same time, I'll have a bit of leniency because I understand where we are from. So I want to use at the same time kiddies' gloves on this to say, my faith, to look at what happened to us. Our fathers used to work, our grandparents used to work in away because their lands were taken. They would go work in Joburg and come back only on holidays, Easter and December. Those were not fathers. But I'm saying, let's educate ourselves. Let's read our history, true history, not the one written by colonizers to make us believe that we are worthless. The oral history from our grands. You will learn to realize, wait a minute, our fathers were there. You will learn to realize that, wait a minute, our fathers were responsible. We are inherently responsible. We are communal. It shows you how responsible we are. And I'm saying we are because that's what is innately in us. Not this narrative that we're being lied to, that we are inherently irresponsible. No, we're not. We're not. So I'm saying we can do all that we can do, but don't bring children into this world if you can't take care of them, or if you haven't learned from your past. Learn from it and do better, so we can stay and be responsible dads. I mean, it says some fathers live by choice, others are swallowed by poverty. We spoke about this. Fear, cycles of trauma. Guys, we are traumatized. We are a traumatized nation. I think I would always advocate for this. We need to create programs where we deal with the trauma that we have faced as a society. We are traumatized. Verwoest was a psychologist. I think he was also a sociologist. He had PhDs in these things. He constructed and created a system to differentiate us. We need to create a reverse of that intentionally. We need to create programs where we take our boys, our girls, so we can groom them together because they will need each other. This whole thing of girl child to work and grooming them and leave the boy child behind, I've never agreed to that. I'll never agree to such a thing because it's dangerous. We're creating what we're trying to break in reverse. We need to be very intentional at schools, teach true history so our people can know. Guys, do you know when I say people talk about traumas, there's something called epigenetics. Learn about it. Go read about it. You've realized it says the diet that my great-grandparents took, dududu and pontia in Mozambique, that man, the stuff that he ate, some of the diet that he chose that time, those things are affecting me now. They're affecting you now. What the dudu took, my great-grandfather from my father's side, his diet, some of the arrogance I have, some of the I'm going to do this I have. When I listen and I hear about these two guys, my goodness, they were giants. They moved everything. So if I can see that in me from those guys, you see that traumas are a real thing. So we need to deal with that. We need to deconstruct that. Know what are your traumas. Know what are your issues so you can handle them. We can't handle that. You can't handle what you don't know. We can't deconstruct what you don't know. You need to deconstruct what you know so you can construct better. I mean, if you know there, the sand is not strong, why do you want to go build a house there? So, you know, the absence cuts deeper for you too. Children question their worth, their identity, their place in the world. Imagine that. Because now you are absent. Because now you want to continue making children even though you know that you're not healed. Because now you want to continue making children because you know that you won't be there. Because you're not going to change what you were in as well. You know. So what do you construct? But absence doesn't have to be permanent, Bafetu. To every absent father, it is never too late to return. Presence is not perfection. You know, it's simply showing up. Starts with a small call. Make a call, man. You know, message, nyana, you know, gift, school bag, whatever. Walk them to school, you know, if you don't have means at the time, you know. A child remembers efforts of it. They remember the effort. They remember the effort. Let's not leave this to be too late. Where they are grown, are now family members, family men, family women, and they want to come and say, yo, my children, I'm sick, I need a kidney. What kidney? So yeah. Yo, so thank you. If you enjoyed this episode and you can resonate with some of the things, please like, share, subscribe. Let's grow this community, guys. Let's grow this community. And share this because there's a father out there who needs to hear this. And also, I want us to bring back the culture of intentional parenthood, intentional fatherhood, because we're involved. We need to bring back that culture as we'd like. So thank you. Catch you again on the Father's Chair on this Deconstruct to Construct. Next episode, we were dealing with the present but emotionally absent father. Yeah, so that one it's hopefully it's self-explanatory. But yo, take care. Thank you. Love you guys.